My name is Lee, and at 20 years old, I came home for college break and found my life reduced to trash bags sitting on the porch. My mom's text came seconds later. Sorry, hun. I have a new boyfriend. We'd rather be alone. I didn't protest. I didn't scream. I just stood there and then I did something else. 2 weeks later, the police were putting her in handcuffs. If you've ever been betrayed by the people who were supposed to love you most, tell me where you're watching from. The flight home was long, 5 hours in the air, plus a layover and a delay in Chicago that felt like an eternity. I sat wedged between two strangers watching grainy reruns of old sitcoms with garbled subtitles, fantasizing about lasagna. Not just any lasagna, my mom's lasagna, the one she'd make when I came home. Layers of noodles, sauce, and familiarity. It was my comfort food, my homecoming ritual. I hadn't seen her in 5 months. I'd imagined the reunion on the flight, her opening the door, her face lighting up, maybe a hug that lasted too long, a tear or two. And then a small rant about how expensive gas had gotten and how college doesn't teach you real-world skills. I was almost excited for that predictable chaos. Instead, I walked up the familiar stone path, dragging my suitcase behind me, and noticed the first sign that something was off. A shiny new lock on the front gate. It gleamed in the afternoon light like it had been installed yesterday. My key didn't fit. I tried again. Wiggled it. Nothing. Maybe it jammed, I thought. Maybe she'd changed it for safety. I pulled out my phone. Mean to, hey, I'm here. Gate's locked. No response. I rang the bell. Waited, knocked, waited again. The house was silent. That's when I saw them. 4 large black trash bags lined neatly along the porch rail, each tied tight. I thought she'd forgotten to take the garbage out. I stepped around them, knocked one more time, and tried calling. Straight to voicemail. I sat on the porch bench, the one she used to decorate with pumpkins in October, and scrolled through my phone to pass time. Maybe she was out running errands. Maybe she was napping. I tried not to feel uneasy. 20 minutes later, I texted again. Me. Mom. 5 minutes after that, my phone buzzed. Relief washed over me until I read the message. Sorry, hun. We changed the locks. I have a new boyfriend. We'd rather be alone. I stared at my screen, waiting for the punchline that never came. Another message came in seconds later. I sent you a message on Facebook a few days ago. Facebook. The dusty relic I hadn't opened since high school. She might as well have sent smoke signals. I called her. She picked up on the 3rd ring. Hi. Sweetie, she said, voice light, almost cheerful. Mom, I'm at the house. I figured you'd get in touch, she said, like we were catching up over coffee. You knew I was coming home? Well, things changed, she said, and I could almost hear her shrug. You changed the locks. It's not personal, she said quickly. Vincent and I just need some space right now. He's staying here. It's been kind of our little getaway. We just want to enjoy each other's company without distractions. Distractions? I repeated, disbelief cracking through my voice. And I'm supposed to go where? I don't know, Lee. You have friends, right? Maybe stay with one of them? Most of them are out of town, I said, my throat tightening. Like I told you last week. Well, she said after a pause, I did leave your stuff out for you. It's on the porch. I turned my head slowly toward the trash bags. That's my stuff? Yes, she said brightly. I packed it up yesterday. Mostly clothes. A few books. You don't need much, right? You're only here for a week. The silence stretched so long it started to hum in my ears. Lee? She asked. Are you still there? I hung up. Then I walked over and untied one of the bags. Inside, my hoodie, my sneakers, my senior prom photo, still cracked from the move to college, and a faint scent of lavender dryer sheets. Everything smelled like home and rejection. I didn't cry. Not then. I just stood there holding a trash bag full of my life, feeling like I'd been tossed out with the recycling. That night, I found a cheap hostel on the other side of town. Peeling paint, coin-operated showers, and bunk beds that creaked if you breathed too hard. I checked in with the emergency credit card I'd hidden behind my ID for just-in-case moments. I guess this counted. I showered under a sputtering stream of lukewarm water and crawled into the lower bunk. wrapping myself in the scratchy sheet like it could keep the world out. I told myself I was camping, that this was temporary. The next morning, I checked my bank app, mostly curiosity, partly panic, to see how long I could afford to live like this. The balance was konhoen. I refreshed the page, closed and reopened the app, still zero. My college fund, the one that had been my safety net since junior year of high school, was gone. Half of it had come from my grandfather's inheritance, the rest from 3 years of tutoring kids whose parents could buy their way into Ivy League schools. I'd spent nights studying instead of sleeping, packed lunches to save money, skipped every luxury just to keep that account alive, and now it was empty. My mom always believed in second chances, especially for men with white teeth and bad credit. Our house had seen a revolving door of boyfriends, all with different rules, different moods, and different opinions about how I should exist. One wanted me to call him Dad. Another said I shouldn't be in the room when he watched TV. A third told me to fix my posture. That one lasted 3 weeks before he insulted the couch and got dumped. It was always the same cycle. She'd fall fast, rearrange our lives around him, and when it fell apart, she'd swing the other way. No more men, she'd say, crying over takeout, binge-watching sitcoms, acting like everything was fine. Then inevitably there'd be another one, another soulmate. By the time I hit high school, I'd stopped waiting for stability. I got 2 part-time jobs, one at a bookstore and another tutoring middle schoolers. I learned how to survive without her help. My grandpa, her dad, was the only person who really saw what was happening. He wasn't a talker, but he was observant. When he passed during my junior year, he left me $40,000 in a college fund, with my mom listed as co-signer since I was still a minor. I trusted her. Added $8,000 of my own from tutoring. It was enough to cover tuition and expenses. If I stayed careful, I never changed the password. Because she was my mother, and some part of me believed she'd never cross that line. Spoiler, she did. That morning, running on no sleep and too much instant coffee, I logged in again, hoping maybe it was a glitch. The balance hadn't changed. I opened the transaction history. My stomach turned. Every withdrawal had been authorized. Every transfer linked to her phone, all of it gone, not stolen by some stranger. Stolen by her, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared at the glowing screen until it blurred. Then I called her. 4 rings. Voicemail. 6 rings. Then she answered. Lee. Hi, sweetie, she said, voice soft and airy, like nothing had happened. I saw the balance, I said. My voice didn't even sound like mine. It's gone. All of it. A pause. Oh, you mean the account? The account, I repeated. The one you weren't supposed to touch. Don't be so dramatic, she said. It's not gone, it's just tied up. What does that mean? Well, we used some of it for a little trip. Just a short one. Vince found this amazing deal on a cruise. And then we're renovating the kitchen. It really needed work. Vince's friend runs a contracting business, so he gave us a great rate. The house value's going to skyrocket, Lee. It's an investment. An investment? I said quietly. That was my college fund. Grandpa's money. My money. I know, honey, she said. The way you'd talk to a toddler. But Vince will pay it back, and all of it. He's just a little tied up right now. Cash flow, you know? No, I said flatly. I don't know. I don't care. I want it back, she sighed. You're being hysterical. I laughed, sharp and humorless. You stole from me. Oh, please. That's such a strong word. I borrowed it. You didn't ask. I didn't think I needed to, she said, her tone tightening. You're my daughter. No, I said. I'm an adult, and that money was mine. You emptied the account without permission. That's theft, her voice dropped. Don't talk to me like that. I'll talk to you however I want, I snapped. Because right now, you're not acting like my mother. You're acting like a thief. There was a long pause. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Then finally, she said, clipped and cold, Fine, I'll talk to Vince. We'll send it back. Happy now? No, I said. I'll be happy when it's back in my account. Every cent. You'll get it, she muttered. Stop acting like the world is ending. And then she hung up. I sat on the edge of the hostel bed. Phone still in my hand screen, gone black. My heart was pounding. not just from rage, but from something deeper, something colder. A line had been crossed, and I knew even then there was no going back. She'd made a choice. Now I had to make mine. I gave her 3 days, not because I believed her, not really, but because somewhere deep in the fossil record of our relationship was this little flicker of hope that maybe for once she'd do the right thing without needing a full-blown meltdown to prompt it. For 3 days, I refreshed my bank account like it was a group chat, waiting to blow up nothing. I texted her once. Any update? She replied, "It's being handled." Whatever that meant on day 4, I asked again. This time she didn't reply. On day 5, I sent her a longer message. I need a timeline. I have bills, rent, tuition. I need to know when the money is coming back. She left it on red. So on day 6, I called. She picked up with that tone she always uses when she knows she's in the wrong, but hasn't decided how to spin it yet. "Lee, I'm literally in the middle of something." "Hey, then I'll be quick. I need my money back. I've been patient," she sighed. "I told you it's being handled. Vince said he'll take care of it when his next investment pays out." "Did you actually ask him?" Pause. "We talked about it." "Did you say?" "Vince, I stole $48,000 from my daughter and you need to pay her back." Or, "Did you just vaguely mention that you're short on cash?" Silence, that's what I thought. I said, "Lee, don't start with the drama. You have no idea how hard this year has been for me." "You're right. I was too busy working 2 jobs and going to class full-time while saving every penny I had because I knew you couldn't help me." "Oh my God, I wanted to help you," she said, voice rising. "You think I enjoyed watching you scrape by? I cried every time I saw you working those stupid shifts at the grocery store. You didn't say a word when you took the money." "I didn't take it," she snapped. "It was accessible, and it's not like I spent it on drugs or something. It was for the house in Forest. Me and Vince, we were planning something beautiful." I laughed. Actually laughed. "You think this is funny?" She snapped. "No," I said. "I think it's pathetic. You didn't just spend my money. You spent Grandpa's money. He left for me, not you, not Vince." Her voice dropped. "I'm your mother, Lee, and I'm the one. Who has to figure out how to stay in school now? You don't understand how complicated this is if you just trust me." "No." "What?" "No, Mom, I'm not trusting you. I'm done trusting you." She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "You'd really do this to me after everything I've done for you. Erased you. I gave up everything. And then you threw it away for a man who's probably already planning his next beautiful renovation with someone else's money." "Lee, I'm going to the police." She laughed. "You are not serious." "I am. You're going to report your own mother." "Yes." "Oh my God, you are so ungrateful." "No. I'm just tired of playing the fool." She hung up. I sat there for a second, then opened my notes app and copied the messages she'd sent me. The one where she confirmed she took the money. The only where she said Vince would handle it. I screenshotted my bank statements. I added a photo of the old check I deposited when Grandpa died, the one marked for Elisa's education only. Then I walked to the nearest police station. Took a while. I didn't have an appointment. I waited behind someone reporting a stolen bike and a guy with a noise complaint. I sat there with my backpack in my lap, reading over everything for the 10th time, wondering if I was about to become that girl. Some cautionary tale. People whispered about at family barbecues. Remember Lee turned her mom into the cops? But the officer I spoke to didn't blink. "You have documentation?" He asked. "Yeah," I said. I handed him everything. He looked through it page by page. "This fund, was it in your name?" "Yes." "Did she have power of attorney?" "No, just the password." He nodded. "Okay, that was it. No big speech, no dramatic gasps, just okay." 3 days later, my phone rang. "It was her. You called the police on me." My mom snapped. "No hello, no pause. What is wrong with you?" I let the silence stretch for a second. "Maybe 2. I asked you to pay me back. I said you would. Then you didn't. I told you we were working on it. Vince has a plan. He's coordinating the whole thing. The renovations are going to make the house worth so much more. You'll get your money back and then some. You sent $48,000 to a man I barely know," I said. "And now it's gone. There's no timeline, no receipts, no contract. That's not a plan. That's a gamble. Why are you being so cold?" She said, her voice rising. "Used to love this house. Don't you want it to be fixed up? Vince said he could get it done for half the normal price, if we paid up front, so that's what I did. I was trying to help us both." "You didn't ask," I said. "You took, for God's sake." She cut herself off. "You're blowing this out of proportion. Do you even understand what you've done?" "Uncle Joe called me this morning. Aunt Margot left me a voicemail practically crying. They think you've lost your mind. I told them everything I asked. She didn't answer. You told them. She continued that you've been under a lot of pressure lately, and maybe you were just overwhelmed. I defended you, Lee. I said you weren't yourself. That's the only reason I can think of, because otherwise this is cruel. I'm not overwhelmed, I said. I'm done. He went quiet just for a second. Then she shifted tactics. You're really going to make me go through a legal investigation? She asked. Over money that's already being handled. It's not being handled, I said. It's being brushed under a rug. You'll regret this, she said, her voice shaking now. I promise you, when this is all over, when the work is done and the house is worth double, I don't want a cut of your fantasy flip. I said I want the money that was left to me for school. From Grandpa, more silence. But now I could hear her breathing. If you're not going to fix it, I said, I'll let the police handle it. You don't have to do this. She said, please, just give me a little more time. Vince said, then ask him. I said, for real this time. She didn't reply, but the line didn't go dead either, just that soft, empty space where guilt turns into resentment. I hung up. I'd love to say that after I filed the police report. Things resolved quickly, that someone swooped in, saw their seats, the texts, the empty account, and said, yep, open and shut. But that's not how it works, at least not for people like me who don't have lawyers on speed dial or a family name that carries weight. Still, the report kicked off an investigation, a very real one, and that's when things started unraveling. According to my aunt, who heard it from a neighbor who read it on Facebook, where my mother was very not subtle. The police didn't just show up. They showed up while she was getting ready for a wine and charcuterie night with Vince. That's what she called it. I call it Thursday. They wanted to ask questions. Standard stuff. She could have cooperated. He could have played it cool. But instead, she got indignant, accused them of ruining her evening, told them her daughter was being hysterical over a few dollars, in an armament of absolute genius, threatened to sue the department for harassment, which is apparently what triggered the handcuffs. They didn't arrest her. They didn't charge her that night, but they did cuff her for safety, while they confirmed her identity and collected statements. And according to her tearful voicemail the next day, the humiliation was unbearable, which of course was the point of the voicemail. Not to apologize, not to explain, but to make me feel guilty. She said, "Do you know what it's like to be treated like a criminal in front of your boyfriend?" She didn't mention draining my college fund or lying or telling me to sleep on the sidewalk like it was a minor inconvenience. Just, the trauma of the handcuffs. I didn't respond, so she escalated. She started calling family members, ones we hadn't seen in years, old cousins, second aunts, a niece of my late grandfather who once sent me a Christmas card with the wrong name. They started reaching out to me, some gently, some not so gently. "She's your mother. You only have one. She's been through so much." I thought about ignoring it, but then I realized silence lets people fill in their own story. So I told the truth, not dramatically, not in caps lock, just clearly. I posted a single message in the extended family group chat. I included screenshots of her text, a bank statement, a few dates. No commentary, just the facts. And that was enough. A few relatives messaged privately, said they'd had their own issues with her, said they believed me. One cousin even admitted. She remembered a weird comment from Vince about requating family assets, like we were all shareholders in a sitcom trust fund. Eventually, the noise quieted. Not because everyone agreed, but because the ones who mattered had heard enough. That's when the official letter arrived. She had torpay the money or face charges. I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. I just waited. I wish that had been the end. I wish she had just repaid me the money and that was it. But it was far from over. She stalled. Said she was working on it. Said Vince would come through soon. Said maybe we could meet halfway. I didn't respond a week later. She stopped bringing up Vince entirely, which is how I knew something was wrong. Eventually it came out. First in artillery voicemail, then in a chain of rambling texts that read like a confession, and a breakup letter rolled into one. Vince was gone. He'd taken their innovation money with him. There were no permits, no contractors, no receipts. The company he claimed to be working with didn't exist. The friend who handled the permits had a disconnected number. She even found out the name Hegaveher might not have been real. She paid him nearly $40,000 for a dream remodel. That never started. He vanished before they could so much as knock down a wall. And suddenly she wasn't just embarrassed. She was broken alone. She didn't tell me all that directly. Of course, she sent me a meme about betrayal followed by a "can we talk" text at 2 a.m. When I didn't answer, she sent a voice message sobbing. I didn't know. I thought he loved me. I thought we were building something together. But by then, I was done being the safety net. She tried to get a loan, but her freelance career and mountain of credit card debt made that impossible eventually. She did the only thing she could. She remagged the house. A bad loan, high interest, terrible terms. Almost felt sorry for her until I remembered that I hadn't asked for revenge, just a refund. She sent me $20,000 up front. The rest would come in installments, enforced, documented. Fast forward 2 months, the payments coming now, not from her directly. She set up a third-party service, probably to avoid having to type my name. They land on the same day every month. Like rent, I use them to cover my books, my groceries, my future. She doesn't call anymore. No voicemails, no chain texts, no surprise memes about forgiveness. I think she knows it wouldn't work. According to my aunt, the renovation never started. Vince was a ghost. The money's gone. She's stuck with a predatory mortgage, a gutted living room, and no one left to blame but herself sometimes. I wonder what her version of the story sounds like. Maybe I'm the ungrateful daughter. Maybe he was her last shot at love. Maybe she's the victim. But I stopped rewriting her story for her. I'm not her backup anymore. Not her therapist, another excuse, just her creditor. And this time she doesn't get to pay in guilt, only dollars. Sometimes I wonder if I was too harsh. I mean, I didn't scream. I didn't drag her name through the mud. I just set a boundary and stuck to it. But part of me still wonders. Should I have shown more grace, more softness? Or did I finally do what needed to be done? What do you think? Did I do the right thing? Or did I go too far? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.